Saturday, or Friday evening and Saturday. And over again, we are reminded of the number of young families that we have worshiping here. So, in a bulletin this week, I wrote a couple words on parenting. I said that parenting is possibly the most challenging, the most important, the most revealing, and ultimately the most rewarding or devastating task a young couple will do. And I know there's a number of books that come out on parenting, but have you ever noticed there's not one that ever rises to the top as the most important book on parenting? And I suppose there's not a book in the Bible that actually spends just concentrating on parenting and nothing else. And I think that the reason for that is that every child is different. For those of us that are gray-haired, probably when we had our second child, we thought we could treat it the same way we treated our first child. And they would turn out the same. But it doesn't take long to come to the realization that even though those children had the same mother and father, are in the same house, and dance around the same tables, that you have to treat them entirely different. And it might surprise you, but I'm not going to stand up here and tell you, as young people, how to do parenting. And the obvious reason is I don't know the answers. But I do want to emphasize how important it is and how you may not realize it, but you as young families are in each of our prayers and each of our concerns. We are happy when things go good, and we're very sad when things do not go good. A friend of mine, Eddie Clore, I found a note that I had written one time when I said in one of his talks. Eddie said of his parents, they gave us roots, R-O-O-T-S, roots. He said his parents gave him wings, and they gave them a map. He went on to say that they gave us a heart to work in God's kingdom. They gave us a heart to help others in need. They gave us a heart to give what we could in goods, kindness, and love to those around us. They taught us accountability and mercy or forgiveness. They taught us responsibility and integrity. He said that his parents, I'm sorry, I don't have the other part written down. I'm telling you now what it means to me. They gave us roots. Home was a refuge, a place to be when the day's work was done, a place to wake up and greet each new day, a retreat from the troubles of life, a place to receive nourishment, rest, and peace, a place of familiar surroundings. It was home sweet home, a welcome place to be. As far as wings, they gave us wings. Parents helped me make choices and decisions in early childhood. But they also had the ability to sever those ties when the time came for me to exercise my own independence. They assured me that I could soar to great heights, but I must leave the nest and let go of those weights that pulled me down. My parents gave me a map. They taught me the importance of a map. To make a journey through life, I must begin with a solid foundation and know what will sustain and nourish me for that journey. And I must develop the strategy to reach my goal. So for roots, in practical application, we must know the Father. Okay? For wings, we must trust in God. For a map, we must study His Word. Then, as a little commentary on, they gave us a heart to work in God's kingdom, a heart to help others in need, a heart to give what we could in goods, kindness, and love to those around us. I wrote that my heart must continually desire to know God and walk in His light. I must be compassionate and see the needs of others, and yet know that I cannot solve every individual's problems, but be willing to give in goods, kindness, and love. They mentored me in accountability and integrity. In practical application, they gave me the heart of a servant. As a child grows and leaves the nest, they take these things with them. But one thing that really is a difficulty, and we haven't mentioned yet, is the word faith. Because when they leave the nest, faith is tried so hard. Romans 10, verse 12 says, faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the Word of God. Steve, in the sermon Sunday night, spent time in Hebrews. And I never had related to Hebrews until Sunday night in Steve's sermon, like in terms of parenting. But in those scriptures that Steve shared with us Sunday night, there's some exhortations that we can surely take home with us for good parenting. In relation to trying our faith, we read in Hebrews 11, the chapter on the faith. And then in chapter 12, it says, we have such a great cloud of witnesses that showed faith. For our young families, if we can give our children roots, if we can give our children wings, if we can provide for them to use the map that's there, if we can encourage them to have a pure heart, if we can teach them accountability and mercy and responsibility and integrity, then they'll be good. They'll do good in their adult life. Please know that our young families are in our prayers and you're in our encouragement. If anybody is subject to gospel call, or if they would like to have church pray for them, you're welcome to come as we stand and sing.